From emails to time capsules, all the way to some famous cases of suspected time travel, this list is full of strange occurrences that will make you question everything. Let's dive right into the top 10 scary messages people received from their future selves. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the email from the future. This story comes from a Reddit user who seems to have possibly received an email, but from their future self. The message reads, quote, "If you're reading this, it has worked. I stumbled upon a way to transport electrons at, according to your current understanding of relativity, a speed faster than the speed of light. We're trying to use this to communicate with the past. You will not be able to respond to me through these means. If you have received this email, cut your left thumb deep enough to leave a scar, and hopefully I will get the message. If we establish positive communication, you will hear back from me." What in the sci-fi action movie kind of email is this? The Redditor finished their post by saying of course their instinct was to believe that it was someone just messing with them, but what if it's not? In our number 9 spot today we have the close call. Okay, so this is less of like an email or a letter and more of just like an insane act. Basically, this guy was saved by what could be his future self. I'll show you the video and then we'll discuss. Like, the guy, who looks just like him, shows up out of nowhere, taps him on the shoulder to alert him of the impending danger that none of us saw, and then just vanished. I mean, the guy looks around after it seems as though he can't see him. Every time I see this video circulating on the internet, I am completely bamboozled over what just happened. In our number 8 spot today we have the construction crew. As a construction crew in Albuquerque, New Mexico was working away a few years ago, they discovered a time capsule that had been buried sometime in the late 60s near an old elementary school. Of course they looked inside to see what it could hold, and they mostly found notes from the kids, pictures of their favorite shows and characters, you know, kind of what you'd expect, but then they found one note that left them with quite an unsettling feeling. This particular student wrote that he was quote dead, and that his favorite subject was quote spooking the police. He also claimed that he was born in 1900 but was now quote dead, but that he was also quote 10 years old. There were also some more normal things mentioned in the note as well. He did say that he liked to play guitar and informed people what a guitar was in case the people of the future were unsure. He ended the letter though by saying quote, "See you later, savages." That's gonna be how I end off all of my MA videos from now. See you later, savages. So strange. In our number 7 spot today we have Live Your Lie. A guy on TikTok who goes by the username Live Your Lie has begun to post videos claiming that he is a time traveler from the year 3036, and he offers his warnings to all of us. More of a message for humanity rather than just for himself, I guess. He tells his followers that they are as free as they will ever be right now, and that our kids won't even see freedom. He says, quote, "So suck it up, because as simple-minded as your time period is, you still got it pretty good. You just don't know it." Okay, Mr. Live Your Lie, you don't absolutely have to roast us all. Anyway, when asked about the world population in his year, he says it's just over 2 billion people. He talks about something called the Big Blackout, which he says happens in December of 2052. He says that the Big Blackout is when, quote, basically everything goes dark for upwards of 5 years. The internet, the power, it all gets disconnected on account of what's called the terrors, but many people speculate otherwise. He says that during these years there's riots, turmoil, and that it's just the worst of times, and that it takes 20 years for things to fully get back online. He also adds that in the year 3036 we still have zoos, but all of the largest animals are gone, so the zoos then actually just consist of things like dogs and cats. I'm honestly not really sure what to make of this one. Like, if he really is a time traveler, I appreciate the heads up on what's to come, but couldn't he have also said like one nice thing about the future? I don't know. In our number 6 spot today we have the hidden safe. This is a bit of a time capsule kind of story, and it starts off when a guy discovered something hidden in his grandmother's ceramics room that he came to learn that his grandfather had hidden many years prior. One of the cabinets had a false bottom, and when lifted out, it revealed a safe. After many different attempts, they were able to pry the safe open, and inside they found what his grandfather had left behind. On the front of the box, however, read a bit of an eerie message from Dante's Inferno. quote, "Abandon all regret, ye who enter here." Despite this message, they continued into the box to find a few small items like a pen, a suede pouch, and a small lamp. Nothing insanely monumental, but the guy just couldn't shake the inscription on the box. It had him spooked out enough that he just gave the rest of the time capsule to his grandma for her to search through. I like that. Just pass on the haunted time capsule to your grandma when you don't want to deal with it. She's got this. In our number 5 spot today, we have time travel _0. Okay, so this is one that at the time was both one of the most famous and one of the most believed cases around. In the year 2000, an online thread began about time travel paradoxes on a forum for the Time Travel Institute. On the thread, a user commented on how a time machine could theoretically be made, and this prompted the response of a user whose screen name was time travel _0, and they said, quote, "Wow, Paul is right on the money. I was just about to give up hope on anyone knowing who Tipler or Kerr was on this word line." By the way, number 2 is the correct answer, and the basics for time travel start at CERN in about a year and end in 2034 with the first time machine built by GE. Too bad we can't post pictures or I'd show it to you. Okay, so this is obviously insinuating that whoever the heck time travel _0 is a time traveler. Throughout the next year, people continued to post questions and messages that they had for this guy on that thread, and through time travel _0 became known as John Titor, and he told us all his story in great detail. He said that he had been sent back to 1975 in order to bring an IBM 5100 computer to his own time, but he was just stopping in at 2000 for a brief rest on his way back home. I guess time travel is exhausting. I personally would not know. There definitely are people out there who still believe that John was a real time traveler, so I guess I'll just leave this one up to you. You decide. In our number 4 spot today, we have Andrew Carlssin. On January 28, 2003, Andrew Carlssin was arrested and held by the police for insider trading at Wall Street. This was because of the fact that in 2 weeks, through the stock market, Andrew was able to go from having $800 to making $350 million. Yeah, $350 million in 2 weeks. That's absolutely insane. When the authorities arrested him, they assumed he made his profits through obtaining illegal insider trading information, but when they asked him how he was able to do this, Andrew said that he was actually from the year 2256, and so he knew exactly how all of the stocks were going to perform. Obviously, no one believed this story and just assumed he was telling an extremely far-fetched lie, which in circumstances like this would be a perfectly safe assumption. But get this. When Andrew was released on bail, he totally disappeared, and despite several attempts to find him, no one has ever been able to. To make matters like this even a little wilder, it is said that he was also able to accurately predict the date of an important moment in US history. Does this confirm his time travel tendencies? In our number 3 spot today, we have the Times Square surprise. In 1950, a man named Rudolph Fentz with Victorian-era clothing and big mutton chop sideburns just appeared in Times Square. Witnesses explained him looking extremely confused, but literally a minute later, he gets hit by a car. When searching his person after this horrific accident, authorities found 19th century money, a letter dated 1876, and a business card with his name on it, which is obviously how they found it out in the first place. The curious thing about these items is that none of them seemed aged. You know, like obviously they were from a different time period, but it seemed like they were new somehow. The story continues on that a Mrs. Rudolph Fentz was tracked down, and she was the widow of Rudolph Fentz Jr. Apparently, the story went that Jr.'s dad disappeared mysteriously in 1876. I'm just saying, it's all a little spooky, right? In our number 2 spot today, we have Edward. Edward is a man who has claimed that he has proof of the apocalypse, and he even brings photos along to prove it. Edward first appeared on Apex TV, which, I'll be the first to admit, hasn't exactly been a source of credible information, but who knows, maybe this time they got it right. Edward claims he was a part of a top secret program in 2004, and that he was chosen to time travel to the year 5000. This photo I just talked about is a photo that Edward carries that shows Los Angeles completely underwater. In fact, Edward says that in the year 5000, the entire world is underwater, but humans have found a way to live on the water. He claims it happened because of global warming, and explained that there was just too much CO2 in the air, which step by step destructed the natural shield zone. I'm not a Photoshop expert, so I wouldn't even know what to look for while looking at these photos, but he claims that it was taken in the year 5000, so I'll leave this one up for you to decide. In our number 1 spot today, we have the Russian time capsule. Back in 2012, there was a time capsule that was discovered in Russia that was found underneath a statue of Lenin. The capsule itself was addressed to the, quote, Socialist Society of 2024. The capsule apparently was coincidentally found 33 years to the exact date of it being buried. When those who found the capsule began to dig through what was inside, it is said that one note in particular left them with a bit of an uneasy feeling. There was a handwritten message on a piece of paper that confidently stated that they were sure whoever was reading the note would still be communists, and that they did not, quote, feel sorry for themselves because of the fact that they were, quote, certain that people of the future would be, quote, better than they were. It is said that aside from this note that rings eerie today, because of course we know what's gone on since that letter was placed in the time capsule, the message also contained some ritualistic praise of heroes in their history as well. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!